No one could prepare the army for this surprise. A moment that was hidden all this time, tightly closed behind a light smile and a light joke on the screen, is now breaking to the surface in an unexpected way. Jimin and Jungkook, two figures who have become pillars of emotion and energy in the lives of millions of fans around the world, have finally revealed something that has always been speculation, hope, and a quiet whisper among the community. A moment that was so happy, so personal, but that is now the main highlight of the world. And the reaction? Explosion, excitement, tears, love, and also, of course, controversy. What exactly happened? Is this a media machine? Or is this the part of the truth that so far can only be guessed from the small gestures and glances of their eyes? The facts tucked into their every stage appearance, every live broadcast, and every little interaction are now puzzle pieces that seem to slowly begin to form a whole picture. And when that picture is seen, the world is no longer the same. The happy moment was first revealed through a video upload that, oddly enough, was not uploaded through BTS's official channel, HYB, or any major media. Instead, he appeared like a torrent from the underground world of social media, uploaded by a mysterious account that had been thought to be just an ordinary fan. However, the second by second in the video is too real to deny. Jimin laughed, hugged Jungkook from behind, and Jungkook, not with a dramatic or contrived expression, turned his head and looked at him with a warmth that couldn't be faked. There is no long dialogue, no background music, only their voices, their laughter, and the one sentence that broke the silence, spoken so softly by Jungkook, yet struck the fans' ears like thunder in the clear sky. "You know I'm happy because of you, right?" That sentence, which may sound familiar to others, for the army, is like an echo of the millions of prayers that have been sent in silence. Does this mean that their relationship is more than just friends? Or is this just an emotional bond in the context of many years of togetherness as groupmates? Interpretations began to explode. Twitter turned into a field of theories. TikTok is full of emotional reactions. Instagram stories are filled with reposts and digital cries from fans who don't know whether to feel happy, confused, or jealous. But such moments are only the beginning. In an in-depth, unplanned interview, an extra segment of a personal documentary taped during their military hiatus, Jimin sits in front of the camera, and as if carried away, he begins to tell the story. About loneliness, about pressure, about how only one person really understands himself. The camera highlights his hand clutching a cup of coffee, but there is an emotional flash in his eyes that cannot be hidden. When everyone turns away, "Never," Jim said quietly. "Jungkook is home. Dan. I don't think I would have gotten through it all if it wasn't for him." The interview has not yet been officially published, but its leaks, again, spread like wildfire in a dry forest. The reaction of fans was divided in two. There were those who cried with happiness, feeling that this was a validation of all the speculation and fanfiction that they had been consuming with great hope. However, not a few also feel this is too personal to share. Some even voiced fears that a moment like this would bring new pressures to both, especially in a South Korean culture that is still very conservative towards emotional expression between men. Then, the most controversial question arises. Is this a confession of love? The media began to speculate. News outlets in Korea, Japan, and even Western media such as BuzzFeed, Rolling Stone, and The Guardian began taking down opinion articles, body language analysis, and interview transcripts from previous years in search of hidden clues. One article even examined Jungkook's pupil movements when Jimin mentioned his name on a 2019 variety show, concluding that his biological reaction reflects a deep affection. Of course, not everyone is happy. Behind the warmth and support, sharp comments also appeared. Some accuse this as just a marketing strategy on the part of the agency to maintain their relevance during the period of conscription. There are also those who consider that this is a form of betrayal of the privacy of fans who want to keep their respective fantasies. But the turning point was when the two finally performed together, not at a concert, not on a live broadcast, but at the wedding of a longtime big hit staffer with whom they had been very close. Someone from the invited guests leaked a photo in which Jungkook was tying Jimin's tie, with his hands shaking nervously, while Jimin just laughed and said, "You've always been like this, even during our debut." The sentence, although short, became another explosion. Does this mean that they have indeed been dependent on each other since the trainee days? Is there something much deeper that we never see because the camera's glare is too sharp to dazzle the truth? the debate became even more heated when HYB, in a brief official statement, neither denied nor confirmed the relationship. They simply stated, "The members of BTS are human beings with private lives. We ask that the public give space and respect to the things they consider important and happy in their lives." The sentence did not extinguish the fire. It becomes gasoline. Hashtags such as hashtag #JungkookReal, hashtag We Support Jimin and Jungkook, hashtag HYBE Must Protect JKJM dominated the global trending topics for 4 consecutive days. CNN and the BBC cited the phenomenon as an example of the romanticization of celebrity in the age of digital fandom. But there is one thing that no one can argue with: the moment is real. And their happiness, somehow in shape, somehow in any label, is sincere and touching. No one can fake a look like that. No one can regulate the vibration of a voice when someone says, "She's the only place I can rest from the world." For the ARMY, it's not just about romance. It's about validating that love, in any form, is worth celebrating. It's about 2 young people who grow up together in a brutal global pressure and still find a way to laugh and survive. About Jimin, who always doubts himself, feels not good enough, not handsome enough, not strong enough, and Jungkook, who is always a witness that all of it is not true, that he was enough, that he is valuable, and about Jungkook, who, behind his muscles and masculine image, harbors a tender and fragile soul that only one man can calm: Park Jimin. Now that the viral storm has calmed down a bit, one thing is very clear. The happy moment did not belong to just the 2 of them. It has become the property of the world. The ARMY that loved them unconditionally belongs to those fans who learned that happiness does not always come in a planned form. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the form of a small hug and the simple phrase, "I'm happy because of you." And in a world so full of noise, that's probably the most honest voice we can hear. Do you feel it too? A heartbeat that changes when you see them together? A strange feeling that binds the throat when realizing that perhaps, all this time, we are witnessing love, not fiction, not a dream, but love in its purest form. And if that's true, are we ready to accept it? What happened after the video went viral wasn't just another viral frenzy. It's not just about trending or likes or comments exploding into the millions. This is a shift, a kind of small earthquake in the social fabric of global fandom. ARMY, who had been bound by their love of BTS music and message, are now suddenly confronted with something deeper, more personal, and more disturbing: the fact that Jimin and Jungkook are harboring a world that only the 2 of them understand. And that is now open, even if it is only a small fragment. Some fans say that they have long felt something different between the 2. Some say the look in their eyes when they look at each other is too warm to just be called friends. There are also those who feel that this is just an illusion of fan service, but now they have to question everything again. As the video and excerpts of the interview continued to circulate, many old compilations began to be dissected. The moment Jungkook noticed Jimin sleeping on V Live, the moment Jimin admitted that he felt comfortable around Jungkook, and the moment they gave each other gifts in a form that was never known to the public because it was too personal. When they sing together, especially when singing emotional songs like Promise or Still With You, many now hear them with a new understanding. Lyrics that once sounded universal now feel like hidden messages between 2 souls connected by something more than words. Have they been singing these songs for the world or for each other? Jimin, in another cut of the documentary, mentioned that there were times when he felt that he was no longer able to continue this career. Pressure, expectations, and loss of direction often make him want to give up. But the one person who was always there, without saying much, simply by sitting next to him and listening, was Jungkook. He never judges. "Even when I hate myself. Stay there," he said with his eyes closed. Meanwhile, Jungkook, who is known to be a more reserved figure in expressing verbal emotions, shows through actions. In a recently leaked rehearsal clip, it's clear how he cares about Jimin more than the other members. "He brought me water to drink without being asked. He checked the room temperature because he knew Jimin was shivering quickly. He stood behind Jimin as he spoke, not to steal the show, but just to make sure his best friend felt safe. And it is precisely in silence that the deepest love speaks the loudest." The media began to speculate further. Will HYB take legal steps against this leak? Are the videos really from internal sources or digital engineering? Some independent journalists tried to investigate, but what they found supports the authenticity of the moment. One of the sound engineers who did not want to be named said that such moments did often occur backstage, but but never entered the public documentation because it was considered too personal. When asked if she was sure the two were in love with each other, her answer was simple but striking. I do not know your definition of love, but if what I see is not love, I no longer know what love means. Society began to split. Some welcomed this as a triumph of representation, something that has so far rarely been seen in the Korean entertainment industry world that is full of demands for image and social order. They see Jimin and Jungkook as icons of emotional courage. But there are also those who are unprepared, even feeling betrayed, as if their fantasies about these idols have been taken away from them. But the most emotional certainly came from Jimin and Jungkook himself. In a secret V-Live broadcast that suddenly appeared a few days after the uproar, with a title that only read a heart emoji and a crescent moon, they sat together in a dark room, lit only by a small lamp and the light of a laptop screen. Jungkook was wearing a simple hoodie. Jimin looked like he hadn't slept enough. They looked nervous, but they didn't escape. They sit, and they talk. There are a lot of things we want to say, but also a lot of things that we don't think there's any need to explain, Jungkook said quietly, his eyes occasionally glancing at Jimin, who smiled slightly. Jimin continued, we know you all want to know, and we also want to be honest, but not because of pressure. We just want you to know that we are happy. Happy because we are still together, because we survived, and because we have all of you. Then came a long moment of silence. There are no words, just a look. And Jungkook's hand, which suddenly clasped Jimin's hand under the table, was clearly visible because the camera panned down a little. The world stopped for a moment. Then they laughed, embarrassed, and said, well, the camera caught it too, huh? The reaction of the world was incredible. The fans who used to cry with shock are now crying with relief. Many admitted that they did not expect that they could get that close and still be themselves without feeling that they had to please anyone. But the effect does not stop there. Within a week, thousands of new fan art, millions of fanfics, and even fan-created songs inspired by the story of Jimin and Jungkook appeared. Some fans even sent bouquets of flowers that read, "You are each other's home," to HYB's office. Letters of support came from LGBTQ+ communities in different countries, calling them a symbol of universal affection without labels. But not everyone is happy. It was also reported that there was pressure from sponsors and outside parties so that the two would not appear too close in public. There are rumors that their advertising contracts may be reconsidered. There was even a petition from conservative groups demanding that BTS's clean image be maintained. But the wave of support from the global army was much larger, drowning the petition in a sea of love and solidarity. And then, on a previously unannounced night, Jimin and Jungkook appeared in a surprise live concert broadcast, singing a new song that no one had heard before. The caption, "Forever in this embrace." The lyrics hit straight to the heart. We were not born to be secret, we learned to live in silence in a world that doesn't always accept I still choose you. Many times, cries broke out around the world. From Seoul to Sao Paulo, from Tokyo to Toronto. The song was not just a statement, but a celebration. About love. About sincerity. About happy moments that finally no longer have to hide. Now, after all that, one question still resonates. Will the world make room for love that cannot be explained in one sentence? Jimin and Jungkook have answered it, not with clarification, but with their courage to be real. Not in fantasy, not in fan fiction, but in a reality that is now indisputable. And for ARMY, this story will live on, not because of the sensation, not because of the controversy, but because of two people who did not give up on their love, even when the world was not ready to accept it. After that night of surprise concerts, the world did not return to the way it was. The song "Forever in This Embrace" became more than just a song. It turns into a kind of mantra for many, a reminder that the truth of emotions cannot be masked forever, no matter how hard the world tries to bury them behind the scenes of industry, image politics, or even collective fear. The international media began to highlight this event not just as a K-pop phenomenon, but as a turning point in the public narrative regarding authentic expressions of affection. Time magazine called the moment a new definition of global love. The Guardian stated that what Jimin and Jungkook did was not only dismantle the boundary between idols and ordinary people, but also destroy the wall that had been built between hope and reality. But behind that rumble, the two souls at the center of this storm still chose to live in peaceful silence. They did not hold a press conference. Don't sell their story as an exclusive documentary, not writing a confession book. They just kept going, together, in a warm and meaningful silence. And in that silence, there is a language that only those who love each other can understand. One hug, one look, one step back as the other steps forward. HYB alone could not resist this current of change. Instead of dampening or erasing any traces of Jimin and Jungkook's moment, they finally took a bold step, making it an official part of BTS' story.